ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्बोधभूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ फिफ्थ मंत्र यत्र सुप्तः न कश्चन कामं कामयते न कंचन स्वप्नं पश्यति तत् सुषुप्तं सुषुप्तस्थानः एकीभूतः प्रज्ञानगणः एव आनन्दमयो हि आनन्दभुक् चेतोमुखः प्राज्ञः तृतीयः पादः. So the first and the second pada of the Atma with the upadhis, well, we call it as Vishwa and Tejasa or Virat and Hiranyagarbha. So that have been talked about in the previous two mantras, 3 and 4. Now this, the sleeper, the Pragnya, and accordingly Ishwara also, that will come later. So that is being, the third pada of the Atma is being taught. And the definition of this the Atma, which is in the third pada, third quarter, is the first half of the mantra. And Shankaracharya gives two interpretations by taking the word Suptaha in two different meanings. And so of them, well, basically, this word Suptaha, you should understand, the dhatu is swap. And when you make a past, past participles, then there is a samprasarana. So, like vach becomes uktaha, vakara becomes ukara. It's opposite to yan sandhi. Opposite. In yan sandhi, yakara becomes ikara, vakara becomes ikara becomes yakara, and ukara becomes vakara. In samprasarana, vakara becomes ukara, yakara becomes ikara, like that. Anyway, so here swap dhatu becomes suptaha. So so the two interpretations Acharya gives very brilliant. So by making the word suptaha of that mantra, this mantra, in two different meanings. And the first meaning, suptaha, means a sleeper, jiva, which is of course a conventional meaning. So sleeper, naturally, it's a conventional. And when you say sleeper, well, then definitely it excludes the waker. So waking state, to define a sushuptam, a deep sleep state, the first half I said is a defining deep sleep state. Definitely you want to exclude the waking, well, suptaha itself. So the first half means yatra suptaha na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana swapnam pashyati. That's sushuptam. Sushuptam is equal to the deep sleep state. Suptaha is equal to sleeper. That's the difference. Sushupti and Sushuptam is equal to the deep sleep state, the experience of a deep sleep. That's called Sushupta. And Suptaha indicate that Atma, which is in this third quarter, obtained as a pragna, etc., sleeper. Anyway, so to exclude this, waker, suptaha is enough, conventionally, Acharya says. And how to exclude dreamer, right? So because the sleeper, when you say, it definitely has either a dreaming sleeper or a dreamless sleeper. And therefore, to exclude the dreamer sleeper, that jiva, Upanishad gives two descriptions. Na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana sapnam pashyati. These two visheshanas actually of the word supta, of the jiva. So, the one who doesn't have a desire, na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana sapnam pashyati, etc. न कंचन कामं कामयते न कंचन स्वप्नं पश्यति. कंचन basically न कंचन कामं. So this chana, chit, not chana. So chana, chit and api, all this gives a indefinite sense to the pronoun which it applies. So kaha kauke, I can apply chana in all. Kaha plus chana, kaschana. Then kau plus chana, kauchana. Then ke plus chana, kechana. Then the second vibhakti, kam plus chana, kanchana. Then again kau, kam. So kau chana and kanchana, etc. Like that. So this is how you can go. Kena chit, etc. Kena comes third, tritiya vibhakti. Then kena chit, etc. etc. So chana you apply to indicate an indefinite sense. Indefinite sense means what? Anyone, someone, like that. So that is how it is. So here kashana means someone. Kanchana, to the someone, to anyone. So kanchana kamam here, of course, so we have to take it any kama. Na kamayati. There is no desire, I mean. Na kanchana is equal to na kanchana is equal to no. And kamam, desire, object of desire, etc. We'll see that when it comes. So, this first meaning of word suptaha here is a conventional meaning. Deep sleeper, definitely waker is excluded. And these two sentences, na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana sapnam pashyati, means the one who does not have a desire, one who does not have any dream, definitely excludes dream state also. And that is how this definition for the Sushupti, for the deep sleep state, etc. has been given. And that has been explained in a Bhashyam. Both the meanings are given in 2 lines of Bhashyam. First line is this: Darshana vrittyoho tattva prabodha lakshanasya swapasya tulyatvat sushupti grahanatham yatra suptaha ityadi visheshanam. So, darshana vrittyoho, darshana vritti means a dream state. Adarshana vritti, deep sleep state. So, and I told you last time, darshana vritti is also a samasa. Is also a samasa. Adarshana vritti also is a samasa. And then you have to make a dvandva, and then you have to say tayoho, because darshana vrittyoho is a 7/2 in the dream state and in the deep sleep state, etc. Tattva aprabodha, naturally there is tattva aprabodha. Tattva here means, what is a tattva? Tattva means I am a waker, that is the tattva, truth. I am the waker, but under the spell of this sleep, well, there will be a deep sleep state or there will be a dream state. And if I am waker, that is the reality has been aprabodha, means that reality is is forgotten. I am ignorant of. In these two states, I am ignorant of this fact that I am a waker. Tattva aprabodha. Tattva aprabodha swapasya. So here, a swapa. So swapasya tulyatvat. Swapa means one who is sleeping. Means one who is a dream sleeper, dreaming sleeper, or one who is a dreamless sleeper is equal to swapa. Swapasya tulyatvat. Both, either a dreamer or a deep sleeper, well, have something in common. What? Tattva aprabodha. That I am a waker, well, that fact is not known. And there will not be any recognition of a surrounding in both the states of the waking world, right? So that way both are samanam. And therefore, so Sushupti Grahanartham, then in order to recognize Sushupti, what should be done? Well, Yatra Suptaha Ityadi Visheshanam. Means these two sentences. Na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana swapnam pashyati, excludes the dream state. And therefore, even though there is tattva aprabodha is a tulyam, yet we can exclude the dream state in dreamer also by what? By these sentences. So, ityadi visheshanam, visheshana dvayam. First visheshana is na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana swapnam pashyati, which are the visheshanas of this suptaha, of this jiva who is sleeping, while in that this dreamer is excluded, and thereby Sushupti Grahanam. So this is how one recognizes a Sushupti clearly. Anyway, so this is one interpretation of the word Supta. Or else, Athava, Pashakara. Trishu api sthaneshu tattva apratibodha lakshanaha swapaha avishishtaha iti purvabhyam sushuptam vibhajate. Athava, or let us take another interpretation of the word Supta, or give you another meaning of word Supta. From the Vedantic standpoint, word Supta is very, very well known in Bhagavad Gita also, in Katha Upanishad also, and in Mandukya also. Supta means a sleeper, but need not be that deep sleeper or a dreamer, etc. One who is sleeping in all the three states is a Supta in a Vedanta, right? That is how Yanisha Sarva Bhutana Tasyam Jagarti, where all entire world is sleeping. So there, Yanisha Sarva Bhutana, where all are sleeping. Sanyami Tatra Jagarti. This Jnani, wise man, is very much awake. And where he sleeps, there all these people are awake. So that is, Bhagavan said very clearly. Means this, taking Dvaitam as the reality, that is where all these people are awake. And there this person, our Jnani, is sleeping. He is not taking this Dvaitam as the reality. Anyway, so this is how there it has been. And then Katha Upanishad, Uttishtata, Jagrata, told to Nachiketa, that you wake up, etc. You rise up and wake up and all that. He is awake, but still he was told. So there, and here of course word Suptaha is very, Karikakara has used this word Suptaha and Bhashakara has taken it. Suptaha is, what is there in a mantra, Karikakara has used Suptaha Anadi Maya Suptaha. And so Bhashakara wants to give another interpretation of the word Suptaha, meaning of the word Suptaha. That is definitely spiritually ignorant person, spiritually sleeper, who is not aware of oneself. Right? Therefore, Tattva Aprabodha Lakshanasya Swapasya. So here Swapa is one who is self-ignorant. There I already told you Swapa is equal to one who is a dreamer and or a deep sleeper. And there both have a Tattva Aprabodha. Both were not knowing I am a waker actually. Under the spell of this sleep, we are not knowing the fact that I am a waker. Anyway, so here what Swapa is equal to is this, means the person who is spiritually ignorant. So, and then definitely when the word Supta is, if you translate like this, ignorant, then means this Jiva, ignorant Jiva, Trishu api sthaneshu. Then Bhashakara says in all the three states, Tattva apratibodha lakshanaha swapaha. Then this spiritually ignorant person, he really doesn't know Tattva, the self. Aprabodha means ignorant of, not knowing. Tattva aprabodha lakshanaha. So lakshanaha swapaha. So basically the one who is characterized, the swapa, the spiritually ignorant person, self-ignorant person, who is characterized by Tattva apratibodha. Tattva means not knowing oneself. So then it is avishishta. Bhashakara says that in all the three states, avishishta, it is common in all the three states. And therefore, well, in that case, how will you now define Sushupti? Because this Supta means he is self-ignorant, then self-ignorant will be in all the three states. Then now how will you explain Sushupta? Deep sleep state, how will you define? No problem. Na kanchana kamam kamayate, na kanchana swapnam pashyati. Na kanchana kamam kamayate. He doesn't desire any sense object. But kama, I am going to explain, it is a karma vitpatti. So kamyate iti kama. That we know, this is very common for us. Kama is a desire and kama is a desirable object. Here it is, na kanchana kamam kamayate. One doesn't desire kamam. One doesn't desire sense object naturally. One doesn't desire cannot be. So kamayate itself indicate it is with the karta. Na kamayate. He doesn't desire. One doesn't desire. He, she, etc. doesn't desire. That we have to understand. Saha na kamayate, sa na kamayate, either. What? Kanchana kamam. Not a single object. And therefore, kanchanam goes with the kamam. So, doesn't desire any, let us say any, that's better. He doesn't desire any object. Indicating what? Sense object, I mean. Indicating what? Excluding waking state. And na kanchana swapnam pashyati indicates dream state, excluding dream state. That is how it has been defined. So, even though trishu api sthaneshu, well, avishishtaha means a common. So, which is common. Spiritually ignorant is ignorant in all the three states naturally. And therefore, to define Sushuptam, to define the dream state, to define the deep sleep state, well, we have to exclude these two. And we can exclude. The kanchana kamam kamam. It excludes waking state. The kanchana swapnam pashyati exclude dream state. Iti purvabhyam, Bhashyakara says, purvabhyam, jagrat swapnabhyam, sushuptam vibhajate. So you can distinguish sushuptam. Sushuptam is equal to dream state, not a deep sleeper here. Huh? I'm sorry, sushuptam means a deep sleep state. Not sushuptam is equal, not sushuptam is sleeper, deep sleeper, no. That is supta, etc. And here supta has been taken as a self-ignorant. Okay, so these two interpretations of this, the first half of the mantra has two interpretations by taking two different meanings of the word suptaha in a conventional way or suptaha in a Vedantic sense. We can say that. And then now Bhashyakara wants to give a general meaning of this, the same first half of the mantra. Yatra yasmin sthane kaleva suptaha na kanchana swapnam pashyati na kanchana kamam kamayate. So, and so yatra means yasmin kale sthaneva. Tral pratyaya indicate, I told you, it is in the sense of saptami. And it is a kaladikaranam or a place, deshadikaranam, etc., etc. So, here yasmin sthane, in which state of experience, or yasmin kaleva, at what time. Both meaning you can take either way. Suptaha, this is sleeping jiva. Now we will take the conventional, a sleeping jiva. Na kanchana swapnam pashyati. He doesn't dream anything. Well, then definitely by which a dream state is excluded. And na kanchana kamam kamayate. And one doesn't desire any external object. By this a waking state also is excluded. Tat sushuptam. Well, that is called a state of deep sleep, or that is called experience of a deep sleep. And sushuptam sthanam asya, saha sushupta sthana, pragnya. So the deep sleeper is the one who does not have one who is in a deep sleep state, which is characterized by what? Where the one doesn't desire any external objects, or one doesn't have any experience of a dream state also. So this is how it has been said. So Sushupta, this is how it is. So Jagarita sthana, Jagaritam sthanam asya, saha Jagarita sthana tai vishwaha. That's fine. But Jagaritam has not been explained. Sapna sthana, Sapnam sthanam yasya, saha Sapna sthana taijasaha. That is fine. But Sapnam not defined. But Sushupta sthana, Sushuptam has been defined. That's the first sentence. Yatra suptaha na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana sapnam pashyati tat sushuptam. And then sushuptam sthanam asya saha sushupta sthanam. Pragna, that's Atma in the third quarter. Deep sleep. So Sushupti, Sushuptam are synonymous word. And gender is because you can make a feminine noun also, you can make a neutral noun also. Then Bhashyakara further says, Nahi Sushupte Purvayoho iva Anyatha Grahanam Lakshanam Sapna Darshanam Kamaha va Kaschanaha Vidyate. Kaschana Kamaha na Vidyate, etc. We have to take it that way. Nahi, na you have to take with the Vidyate. Generally when generally when a sentence in Bhashyam starts with na, you immediately find in that sentence where is verb. Find out the verb and put na along with that. Here verb is what? Vidyate. Well, lift that word na and put with this vidyate. Na vidyate. That's it. Kaschana kamaha na vidyate. We'll see. So, he first. He means prasiddhi. Prasiddhi means what? Sushupte means as it is known to all of us, Sushupte means in Sushupti. Right? In deep sleep. Sushupte is a seventh case of the word Sushuptam. Sushupti is there, then the seventh case you have to tell me, okay? And therefore, so in a deep sleep state, Purvayoho iva, as it was in the previous two states, means as it was in the Jagrat and Swapna. So Purvayoho is equal to Jagrat Swapnayoho. As it was in sleep, deep sleep state, it is known that in deep sleep state, as it was there in the previous two states, Jagrat and Swapna, well, here it is Swapna Darshanam na vidyate. So Swapna Darshanam na vidyate. So there is no Swapna Darshan, there is no dream here. So as it was there in the first two states, is as it was in a waking state and deep and dream state. Here Sushupte in deep sleep state, Swapna Darshanam na vidyate. There is no dream. But you already, but miss here there is no dream. And there it was a dream. But there is a waking state also, because Jagrat Sapna Yoho, Purva Yoho, as it was in the first two states. There is no Sapna Darshan, there is no dream here, Sushupte, in this deep sleep state. Means the first two states are both equated as Sapna. And so, three states are divided into two. First two states, Jagrat and Swapna, are taken as a Sapna. And Sushupti is taken as a deep sleep state. No Sapna. And that is Sapna Darshanam. He's been, you see here, it is by Visheshana. Anyatha Grahanam. Anyatha Grahanam Swapna Darshanam na vidyate. So, there is Anyatha Grahanam. Grahanam is a recognition, knowing. Anyatha, other than what it is, means a mistake. So, in the first two states, well, there is there is a definitely a recognition of oneself and the world other than what it is in reality. So there is a mistake. So, but here, so this is the Mandukya Karika, Anyatha Grahanam, Agrahanam, etc. So let us just discuss in a brief, because it is going to come later. And Karikakara only has introduced all this. That it's Avasthatraya Vichara only, but his Avasthatraya has been divided into only two. One is called Swapna, that is Jagrat Swapna, both called Swapna. And Karikakara is going to say Anyatha Grahanam. And Sushupti is called Agrahanam, etc. Grahanam means a recognition, knowing. So anyway, Anyatha Grahana Lakshanam Swapna Darshanam. So he puts this both waking and dream state as a Swapna. Because Swapna is Anyatha Grahanam as such, all this. And so, Vastu Agrahanam, Vastu means a reality, this Brahman, Atma Agrahanam, that is Sushupti, and Vastu Anyatha Grahanam is called Swapna. So, you take, Anyatha Grahanam means the same Brahman or Atma, which is one without second, non-dual, that has been taken differently in form of Advaitam. Definitely in waking state and in dream state, it's all Dvaitam. But both in both the states, whatever Dvaitam you are saying, actually, really speaking, you are superimposing that. There is one Vastu which is one without second. Ekam Advitiyam Brahma or Ekam Advitiyam Atma. Ekaha Advitiya Atma. Well, it has been taken as a waker and the waking world. So, Gnata, Agneya, etc. And here also in Swapna also it is the same. Therefore, Anyatha Grahanam, really speaking. So, definitely, the Vastu is not taken in a real sense. It is it's a mistake. So, and here that is because of what? Anyatha Grahanam is because of what? Vastu Agrahanam, ultimately Ajnanam, not knowing the Vastu, non-recognition of Vastu being the cause for this mistaken notion of a duality in Jagrata and Swapna. So, in both the states, Anyatha Grahanam is there, therefore both have been equated. Both have been told with one name, Anyatha Grahanam, Jagrata and Swapna. So, Agrahanam, of course, is common in all the three states. Vastu Agrahanam, non-recognition of Vastu, the self or Brahman, is common in all the three states. But Anyatha Grahanam, taking that one non-dual thing as the duality, as the subject-object, in a dream and in the waking, is the mistake. And therefore, that is called Swapnam. In Swapna, in dream also, it is one thing alone divides into two, appears as two. The waker alone appears as subject-object, right? And when waker under the spell of that deep sleep state, well, he takes himself as a dreamer. That's fine. And takes a dream world other than oneself, right? Different from oneself. And therefore the duality is created. Even though there is one waker, nothing else, the waker consciousness pervades whole, and still it appears as subject-object, and it has been taken in a dream as the reality. In dream it is happening. Same way in a waking also. It is the same thing. One consciousness alone, well, is taken as a subject-object and duality. And therefore, both the states have an Anyatha Grahanam. And the cause is Agrahanam. Vastu Agrahanam. So, in a deep sleep only Agrahanam, and Agrahanam is common in all the three states, and Anyatha Grahanam is there only in first two states. And of course, so in a Agrahanam is there in a waking and dream, as well as Anyatha Grahanam is there. In a deep sleep state, only Agrahanam is there. So these three states are brought under two heads only. And so, whole Shastra is meant ultimately, well, definitely for the nivrutti of Anyatha Grahanam actually, but for that purpose, it has to do what? Vastu Agrahanam has to go. The ignorance pertaining to the Vastu, which is one without second, that Vastu Agrahanam should go, because that is the cause of Anyatha Grahanam. I am using purposely these words because they are in Karika, they are going to be used in a number of Karikas. So Anyatha Grahanam and Agrahanam. Agrahanam is a cause, hetu, for the Anyatha Grahanam. So non-recognition of the Vastu alone leads to Anyatha Grahanam, Dvaitam, etc. You take it as a differently mistake. And so what is to be attacked by the Shastra is ultimately ignorance pertaining to the self, Vastu. That is to be attacked. And the example is given here Well, that like you have a fear. See, anyatha grahanam is karyam and vastu agrahanam is karanam, right? And Dvaitam is born of the ignorance of the non-dual Brahman. So that is there. Same way, let us take an example, like a fear of a snake, our rope snake. So fear is karyam, right? What is the cause? What is the cause of fear, really speaking? Is it a snake, or is it a non-recognition of a rope? That's the thing. If you say that the fear is caused by the snake, that's a wrong thing. Because fear is caused by the snake means snake should be there. Otherwise the fear cannot be there. But snake is not there. Then fear cannot be there. Therefore, if snake is not there, fear cannot be value. Fear should not be there, but fear is there. Even though snake is not there, fear is there. Therefore, the cause is non-recognition of a rope. Non-recognition of a rope is the cause, not snake. Not snake is the cause. Non-recognition of the rope is the cause for the fear, not the snake is the cause of fear. Snake is a cause of fear if snake is there. Please understand, I really like to, because our whole thing is anyatha grahanam is there, agrahanam is there. Shastra attacks on anyatha grahanam or Shastra attacks on agrahanam. Ignorance or this mistake. Well, we need not worry about this mistake because it is born of the karanam ultimately of that ignorance. If ignorance goes away, the mistake will not remain automatically. Therefore, Shastra addresses this self-ignorance, vastu agrahanam. As in the case of if you want a fear should not be there, definitely the ignorance pertaining to the rope should go away. You should not try to remove the snake because it is not there to begin with. You say, Swamiji, fear will go away if we drive away this snake, etc. But snake is not there and still fear is there. The cause is different. And the cause is basically vastu agrahanam. A non-recognition of the rope leads to the fear. And therefore, definitely our therefore attempt is not to eliminate anyatha grahanam. Attempt is to eliminate agrahanam, being the hetu for the anyatha grahanam. And agrahanam means ignorance, etc. Then agrahanam means abhava, etc. Well, abhava cannot cause a fear. Ajnanam has been taken as a absence of knowledge by Hole Narsipur. In that case, ajnanam cannot lead to this kind of a fear, right? In case of this, Swamiji, rope ignorance is the cause of fear. Okay, what is ignorance? Absence of the knowledge that it is rope. Wrong. Absence cannot create something which is there, which you experience right now. Fear is something you cannot deny. Fear is there, which is bhava, which is present. That fear cannot be born of a cause which is abhava. This is how we don't accept this Hole Narsipur business. This is the only reason Bhashyakara doesn't accept. Of course, Sachidanandendra Saraswati has come much later, but I am saying Bhashyakara has never mentioned like this. Because for the samsara, the cause is the ignorance. Samsara everyone experiences, whole humanity experiences samsara, fear and everything, shoka, etc., sorrow, this, etc., loneliness, and then, so that is one experience. You cannot deny it. It is present. It cannot be born of the ignorance, which is in the form of absence of knowledge of oneself. No. Absence of knowledge cannot create a samsara which is present, which is bhava. Abhava cannot create bhava. And that is how, very beautifully, Tattvabodha also has said. Ajnana, while defining Ajnanam Karana Sharira, it has been said very beautifully, Yat Kinchit Bhava, Natu Abhava. Yat kinchit bhav. Whatever may be its state. I mean, it's either it is there or it is not there. If it is there, no, you cannot say. It is not there, we cannot say. Yat kinchit bhava, in between. Sadasadbhyam. So, sadasadbhyam vilakshanam. That kind of ignorance create a samsara which also has the same status. And that kind of ignorance with such a reality can go by the knowledge which also has the same status. So jnana virodhi ajnanam. If ajnanam goes away by the jnanam, both have a same status of reality. And therefore, jnana vritti also is like this. Jnanam is not satyam, please. Jnana vritti also, well, definitely removes ignorance, and then very beautifully discussed in Atma Bodha that, the water is there and which is dirty, and you add a alum and you stir it, and that alum definitely takes away the entire dirt and settles. It makes the entire dust, etc., settle at the bottom, and itself also gets settled at the bottom. Same way, this jnana vritti, which removes ajnana, has the same status. Jnana vritti also is yat kinchit bhavam, mithya, I mean. And ajnanam also is yat kinchit bhavam, mithya, and that can nullify it. And then jnana vritti also definitely subsides. Jnana vritti gives you jnanam. You need not have to remind all the time yourself that I am Brahman or I am a human being. You have not to remind. Right now, our jnanam is I am a human being. You have not to entertain this vritti all the time. That I am human being, I am human being, I am human being. You have not to retain. That jnana vritti has given you this knowledge. This is beginningless. But I am this body. You have not to remind. So same way, this Brahmagara vritti, Atma Bodha Acharya explains everything by the example of this alum. Jnana vritti also, because if it removes ajnanam, definitely they are equal in terms of the reality. And therefore, definitely here ajnanam, which is non-recognition, ignorance of a vastu, atma, etc., is not in terms of absence, it is in terms of yat kinchit bhavam, which is mithya. And Bhashyakara, we always say that kind of ignorance which is absent cannot cause any problem. The thing which is absent cannot cause any problem. Vandhyaputra is not a nagging person for you, because you have not to deal because you need not deal with that fellow at all. Absence does not cause any problem. When anything causes problem, and problem have whatever the reality of that problem should be the reality of its cause. That's it. Karana and Karya both will be in equal reality. So anything, if it is not rightly understood, then it is a virodhi, of course. Therefore, jnanasya virodhi alone, this ajnanam, etc. And therefore, so this is how, and is kalpitam. Yat kinchit bhavam, etc. is kalpitam, mithya. So jnanam which negates this ajnanam also is mithya. And that jnanam means understand. Swamiji, satyam jnanam, that jnanam, Brahma is mithya. Jnana vritti. Jnana vritti is mithya. Okay? Which is born in the mind. Is of course mithya. Then, so mithya jnanam gives, if a jnanam is mithya, then the object also is mithya. Object is satyam, but you have taken it different from what it is, and that's due to ignorance of oneself. So ignorance and the error which is born of that has the same status, mithya status. Ignorance also is mithya, and both will go away by this jnana vritti. And Atma is not is illumined by, Atma is not an object of your jnana vritti. Atma cannot be object. In fact, the whole vritti is Atma. Anyway, so this error goes away along with its cause, and the self-revealing Atma is known as it is. Earlier you are not knowing as it is. You are taking it different from what it is. When you are taking it different from what it is, that error and its cause, ignorance, both were sustained by the Atma. Both are sustained by the Atma. And therefore they are mithya. Anyway, so this is how it is. One is understands this way. So anyatha grahanam, of course, is a product of agrahanam. And that is why we say, if in a waking you think that things are, that you are entirely different from, well, from the vastu, then that is anyatha grahanam. So the duality, which is, taking duality as the reality is the issue. The experience of a duality is not an issue. And that is how yasmin vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati, etc. Well, sarvam implies this jagat. Well, knowing and the entire jagat as one vastu. So sarvam indicates that you are experiencing everything. So duality. But even though, in spite of the duality, we have discussed, when I introduced this in this session, at time I told you also, so your experience of a duality, well, does not negate your knowledge of a non-duality. Your knowledge of a non-duality will not be opposed to, will not remove, will not remove your experience of a duality. Cannot. Even though it's a knowledge, cannot. Even though you know everything is one gold, your experience pertaining to several various ornaments will not go away. That will remain. Only thing is, the reality in the duality has been taken away by understanding the non-dual thing as the reality, the gold. Anyway, so this is this is regarding anyatha grahanam, etc. Anyway, then so anyatha grahanam, this kind of a mistake, well, which is sapnasthanam, na vidyate, where sushupte. So such a sapna, etc., is not there, which is there as it is there in the both other two states. So kamaha va kasyanaha na vidyate, and there is no desire also in the sleep, and there is no desire in the sleep. There is no object of desire in the sleep also. That's what I told you. Kamaha, here you can take it. Kamaha kasyanaha kamaha na vidyate. So you take it here. There is no sense object which is there in this deep sleep state. Tat sushuptam bhavati, and that is called sushuptam. And tadetat sushuptam sthanam asya iti sushupta sthana. So, well, then that is the second half of the mantra. So tadetat sushuptam sthanam asya iti sushupta sthana. Sushupta sthana pragnya. The Atma is called Sushupta sthana, which experiences this. Experiences what? Experiences no experiences. I have no experience in the deep sleep state is also an experience, okay? So therefore this is also one of the state of experience, okay? And therefore deep state, waking state and deep sleep state, all are the states. Sthanam, basically we say state, but it's a state of experience. It's a state of experience, this, and therefore sthanam you can directly take it as an experience. So sushupta sthanam, that the experience of a deep sleep state is basically a state where the person, the Atma, as a pragna, doesn't experience anything. That's it. Does not have any special experience, object experience. That is the experience only. Experience of blankness. And then, in that now second half of this mantra, Sushupta sthana has been told. Then Eki Bhutaha. That is, so in the first sentence, the state of deep sleep state is defined. Now in the second half of the mantra, we are talking about this Atma, where, the consciousness which is associated with this particular state. First half of the mantra refers to state of the sleep. The second half of the mantra refers to consciousness associated with the state, and that is called Sushupta sthana and Pragna, etc., and Eki Bhuta, etc. also. And Sushupta sthana, I told you, our Umlaj, etc., well, That's a Bahuri. Sushupta sthanam. Etat Sushuptam. Etat tadetat. That which is this, means which has been defined in the first half of the mantra, that Sushuptam. Sthanam asya. Pragnasya. It is Sushupta sthana. Or Atmanaha you can take. Atma. Which has this, as a third quarter, which has the experience of in a deep sleep state. Where there is no object, no desirable object one experiences, or there is no, where one doesn't experience any dream, etc. That is a deep sleep state. One who experiences is called the Pragna, etc. That all is called Sushupta sthana, you can say. Anyway, and then Bhashyakara says further, Sthanadvaya pravibhaktam manaspanditam dvaita jatam tatha rupa apparityagena avivekapannam naishatamograstam iva ahaha saprapanchakam ekibhutam iti uchyate. So saha, that this Atma, which is Sushupta sthana, which is the third pada of this Atma, well, is what? Sthanadvaya pravibhaktam manaha. So he is explaining this eki bhutaha now. Sthanadvaya pravibhaktam manaspanditam dvaita jatam. That we should take it together. So this entire duality, dvaita jatam. Jatam means samuha, means the entire duality or plurality which is obtained. Sthanadvaya pravibhaktam. Sthanadvaya pravibhaktam means sthanadvayena pravibhaktam. Natu sthanadvayat pravibhaktam. It is tritiya tatpurusha. Sthanadvayena pravibhaktam. Pravibhaktam means which is in the form of a duality. Pravibhaktam is different. Then it is not like here. Sthanadvayena pravibhaktam manaspanditam dvaita jatam. So this entire host of this duality or plurality obtaining as the waking state and as the dream state. Sthanadvayena itham bude. So sthanadvayena pravibhaktam. So this the dual dvaita jatam. So the entire duality or plurality obtaining in the waking state and in a dream state. Well, and it is manaspanditam. We'll take it a little later. That is, they have merged into what? Eki bhutam. So they have merged into one undifferentiated mass as far as the sleeper is concerned. So Jagrat Dvaitam and Swapna Dvaitam, well, subject-object duality in both here, dreamer and the dream world and the waker and the waking world, well, has merged into undifferentiated mass, where which the sleeper experiences as the blankness, as though everything has become one. So blankness of Sushupti is undifferentiated mass, a mass of duality, because duality has resolved. So the word eki bhutaha means everything has become one, as though eki bhutaha. So this is a chvik pratyaya, which was not one in the other two states, has become one. That's all. Brahmi bhutaha. One who was not Brahman has become Brahman. Means one who was not taking oneself as Brahman, such a jnani. One was not, earlier he was not taking oneself as Brahman, he now understands, he is clear that I am Brahman. He is called Brahmi Bhutaha. Saha Brahmi Bhutaha Bhavati. Shukli Bhutaha. One which was not white is white now. Some paint, etc. So this is how it is. Eki Bhutaha. One which was not one. It was in the form of duality in both the states. Sthanadvayena. In the form of a waking and dream state, was Dvaita Jatam, was the entire plurality, etc. Well, in the form of this plurality, and that has become one. All subject object of the waking, subject object of the dream, all merged into one. Eki Bhutam, resolved into undifferentiated mass. And Shankaracharya wants to make a clarification here. Really, this world, dream world and the dreamer, waker and the waking world, really resolves or not in a deep sleep. No, they don't resolve. They don't resolve. Bhashyakara makes it very clear. Whole world dissolves. The whole world dissolves in Mahapralaya. Not now. In a Laya it is not. That is, this is the difference between Laya and Pralaya is this. In Laya they don't dissolve. They as though dissolve. Very beautifully Bhashyakara explains very tatharupa aparityagena avivekapannam naishatamo grastam iva ahaha saprapanchakam ekibhutam. So between this tatharupa, say up to ekibhuta, in between he explained this. And so why do we call that ekibhutam? You say, well, everything resolved into one undifferentiated mass. Shankaracharya says, well, it is not actually ekibhutam, but, well, avivekapannam, due to ignorance, etc. Well, in Sushupti there is a ignorance, and that Sushupti ajnanam basically has enveloped the Advaita Prapancha. The Mula Vidya, well, definitely has enveloped the Jagrat Prapancha and Swapna Prapancha. Because of enveloping, we are not able to differentiate one thing from the other. So experientially, it is undifferentiated mass. Experientially undifferentiated mass. Really, it is not that the whole world, waking world, the gross prapancha, well, resolves into the subtle, and subtle resolves into karana, etc. That resolution happens, but that happens in a Mahapralaya, not in your Laya, in a Sushupti, no. So even though factually it continues to be there, differentiated it remains, but only experientiated becomes undifferentiated mass because of the ajnanam, which covers. He gives an example, we'll see, covering both Jagrat and Swapna. So as though it has attained a Karanavastha. Yes. Karanavastha. An example is what? Well, one Acharya, gives one type of example that you keep it. But other example is there, and that you are supposed people used to decorate a lot in their living rooms and all that. They keep a certain plants, etc. in one corner, and then there are several paintings on the walls, and there is a beautiful furniture, right? And on furniture also they may be keeping certain flower vase, etc. And entire, so many things, and carpets, and whole thing. The person is experiencing that. And well, it's night 8 o'clock and the lights are on, and you are experiencing this differentiated world. And suppose suddenly light goes away in the entire area, and the whole thing becomes undifferentiated. Experientially, it is right there. Carpet is there. Carpet has not resolved into something else. Whole your furniture, paintings, all your flower vase and your plants, the pots, plant pots, etc. All are there, just enveloped by Naishatamaha, nocturnal darkness, nightly darkness, Naishaha. So Naishaha is Nishayam Bhavaha Naishaha, which obtains in Nisha, which obtains in night is nightly. Tamaha, darkness. So Naishatamaha, Bhashyakara has used this word. So it all undifferentiated, all differentiated things are just there, but enveloped by this ajnana. Or there is another example, and that I have seen during Diwali time. In Diwali time, before Diwali they used to sometimes they say, oh no, Diwali is coming, let's paint the whole house. Then what you do? All the things in a given room, suppose they do one by one, right? Each room. So in a given room, you remove everything and put together on a floor and cover with one black cloth. So things have not resolved. Differentiated things are differentiated yet, but covered by one thing. That's called, this is the Sushupti is like this. Sthanadaya pravibhaktam dvaita jatam Tatha rupa aparityagena. See, tatha rupa. So a given thing was there in that form will remain. So tatha rupa aparityagena. So definitely that the tatha means without actually giving up the differences. Well, tatha rupa aparityagena, without giving up the forms, whatever the duality is there, that remains in that form. Tatha rupam, it remains in that form only. Avivekapannam. Avivekapannam means I am not able to differentiate the duality. Due to what? Due to envelope of avidya in a sushupti. So avivekapannam means avidyapannam. You can say, take it that way. You are not able to differentiate because of this avidya, because of the ignorance. Anyway, and so that is called ekibhutaha. The whole world, waker waking, dreamer dream, whole world becomes one undifferentiated mass. So the duality is there, but it as though disappears for you, enveloped by avidya. So sanadvayam pravibhaktam dvaitajatam. Manaspanditam. Now here this Ajativada comes. That's how I kept this word. So manaspanditam means you can understand it. Our one Acharya has taken manaspanditam, which is experienced in the form of a manovritti naturally. Either, both. In a waking state also, well, you experience like that. Manaspanditam. How? Well, this is Swami, this is his computer, or this is his mobile, this is his cloth, this is table, this is his book, something. All differentiated. Right? It's all manovritti rupam. Many and varied. Many and varied. Objects are also many, and the experiences of the objects are also many and varied. This is a differentiation. Dvaita jata. Manaspanditam. So it is in the form of experiences also. Manaspanditam. So it is the entire group of duality, well, definitely, which is experienced in the form of a manovritti. For each one you can, either in a dream, either in a waking. Well, definitely each one we can have a distinct vritti. And well, and as I told you, when this ignorance overpower, then well, whole thing is covered, enveloped by this avidya. Anyway, and Puja Swamiji takes Manaspanditam as, well, he says, well, it is set up. Manaspanditam means it is this Dvaita Jatam, which obtains in both the states, is set up by the mind alone. Because ultimately experience of Advaitam is not possible without Antakarana. And in Antakarana it is experienced in form of two types of thoughts. One is a Ahankara, definitely is also thought, and other is that's Aham Vritti, and other is what? Idam Vritti. So this is how subject-object experiences are there. So the division of the Dvaitam, etc. is as though created by the mind. So manas sattve, well, Dvaita sattvam, manaha bhave, manasaha bhave, Dvaita bhavaha. So when mind resolves, the Dvaitam also is not experienced. When the mind is awake, arises, well, Dvaitam is experienced, is aham, idam, etc. Subject-object. And therefore, basically, it is the whole Dvaitam, which is there in both the states, is Manaspanditam. Sthanadvaya pravibhaktam Manaspanditam Dvaita Jatam. So that is how. And Puja Swamiji says, well, from the standpoint of this Brahman, well, it is Manaspanditam eva. Like, and he gives an example that only from the standpoint of Jagat, you talk about Ishwara. In fact, Mithya Jagat is Ishwara. Right? Mithya Jagat is Ishwara. If you say whatever is Ishwara. What is Ishwara? That's how he says. What is Ishwara. Then what is means the world is. Okay, that is Ishvara. But that is Mithya. The Mithya. Mithya Jagat also is Mithya. Mithya Jagat also is Ishvara. And it's Adhisthana. When you say Mithya, immediately you should not block. Mithya immediately says there is something Satyam. There is no concept of Mithya without Satyam. If you go without that, you will have that Mithya means something which is non-existent. Mithya means experientially which is there only, and that the existence of experience is there, therefore it is existing, but its existence is borrowed from that reality which is there, which is right there, not in the bottom also. Only you have to analyze a given thing and you find that the reality is something different. That's it. Like a pot, etc. You experience a pot, but you don't take a pot as a real. That's it. Therefore, pot becomes Mithya. Anyway, so Mithya Jagat is Ishvara, and its Adhishthanam also is Ishvara. What is Ishvara is like this. Anyway, so therefore, so from the standpoint of the Jagat, well, we talk about Ishvara. That's fine. And from the standpoint of a Brahman, well, definitely it is, the entire Jagat is called Manaspanditam. And Puja Swamiji calls it as a, we'll be exploring that, don't worry. This is called Ajativada. So entire Ajati. Jati means basically here Janma. Janma means here creation. Creation. So there is no real creation at all. There is no dissolution, there is nothing. There is only one thing. So from the standpoint of a Param Brahma, the entire Jagat, including body, mind, sense complex, everything is Manaspanditam. If mind is not there, neither you experience body, neither you experience senses, neither you experience your hunger, thirst, or neither you experience the entire world. Neither you experience a subject, the ego itself is resolved, and mind is not there naturally, because mind alone is the ego. What else is the ego? Atma alone is called ego, well, along with this upadhi called mind. Anyway, so this is how Manaspanditam is this, set up by the mind. The whole duality is set up by the mind, either in a waking or a dream. That's very true. When the mind dissolves, well, in a deep sleep state, well, definitely this Dvaita Jatam, which is Pravibhaktam, Sanadvaya Pravibhaktam, which is there in the form of this waking and dream world, in the waking and dream state as subject-object, do not remain. That's how it is. Anyway. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.